At the time, WALL-E was the most expensive animated film ever made. It had a huge budget of $180 million and went on to gross over $520 million at the worldwide box office. WALL-E was well deserving of its huge success, as Pixar took a risk in creating an almost silent animated film, which ended up paying off for them. WALL-E also went on to win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. Brave was a risk at the time, as not only was it Pixar's first princess film, it was also their first female-led feature. The risk paid off for Pixar, as Brave grossed over $540 million worldwide, a similar amount to WALL-E. Brave also went on to win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, which I thought should have gone to Wreck-It Ralph that year. Finding Nemo made a whopping $940 million for Pixar and was the second highest grossing animated film at the time, only behind The Lion King. So obviously Pixar were eventually going to do a sequel. Finding Dory was given a budget of $200 million, whereas Finding Nemo was only given a $94 million budget. Monsters University is Pixar's only prequel. We got to explore Mike and Sully's college days as they attempt to become scarers. Monsters University cost Disney and Pixar $200 million, but the film did gross an impressive $743 million worldwide. The success of Monsters University inspired Pixar to carry on making sequels, as they would also turn out to be juggernauts. Incredibles 2 is a long-awaited sequel to The Incredibles that came out 14 years before the sequel. It cost Disney and Pixar over $200 million to make, but managed to gross $1.25 billion worldwide, making it the third highest grossing animated movie of all time. The original only cost $92 million, but did make significantly less than the sequel, only grossing a worldwide total of $633 million, which was very impressive at the time. When making this list, I was surprised to see Cars 2 so high up. Every one of the Cars movies cost over $100 million to produce, but surprisingly it was Cars 2 that cost the most, while also being the most universally hated of the trilogy. The film alone made $562 million worldwide, but it's in toy sales where the Cars franchise has made a good chunk of its money. After the huge success of Toy Story and Toy Story 2, Pixar decided to go all out with Toy Story 3. It cost them $200 million, like a lot of their sequels, and was the first ever animated film to gross over $1 billion at the box office. Toy Story 3 went on to become the highest grossing film of 2010 and was also one of few animated movies to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Toy Story 4 once again cost Disney and Pixar $200 million to produce. It was met with a similar level of box office success as Toy Story 3 and was Pixar's 10th Best Animated Feature win at the Oscars. I do think that Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending to the trilogy, but thought Toy Story 4 was worthy of its existence as it wrapped up Woody's arc perfectly. The Lion King 2019 remake is technically animated, even though many argue that the film's live action. But the film used photorealistic animation, making it seem like it's live action, but technically it is animated. The original Lion King only cost $45 million, whereas the remake cost $260 million to produce. A huge $215 million increase for a terrible remake. But luckily for Disney, it did go on to gross $1.65 billion, making The Lion King the 7th highest grossing movie of all time. Disney are also doing a sequel to the remake. Let's just hope that this time around the lines are actually given expressions. Tangled also cost Disney $260 million to produce. The huge budget is likely because Tangled was Disney's first ever fully computer animated feature and went through an extremely troubled production. Tangled ended up grossing over $590 million, making the film yet another Disney hit, and there are rumours that Disney are wanting to do a live action Tangled remake. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know your favourite movie in this video in the comment section below.